looking at software fundamentals. And so this is a quick overview of that lesson, and then next Tuesday I will go over it in more detail. That is, I'll probably not go over every slide, but I'll go directly into the different software applications. So basically this is to get us to look at how to use word processing software, how it's used, spreadsheet, presentation, database. So we're just kind of taking an overview of these things, working with graphics and multimedia software, and then of course other types of software, just making you aware of what's out there and how we classify those things. And learn how to select the right software for the task, and then how that software is integrated. More and more we see this in the Microsoft product, the Microsoft Office product. Word does a lot of things that Excel does, and then Excel does a lot of things that Publisher does, and has features in it that you would see in Word. Word processor. And then PowerPoint has a lot of things in it that look similar to Word. And then there is another little application package called Microsoft Publisher, and it has a lot of stuff in it that looks like PowerPoint. So they're integrated quite a bit. And then Microsoft Access, which is a database program. It kind of has the appearance of a spreadsheet, and you can kind of do database stuff inside of Excel. You can't really do spreadsheet stuff inside of Access. Okay, so there are integrated little pieces and parts of them are integrated. Same thing holds true for computer-aided drafting, for AutoCAD. A lot of features in AutoCAD have been expanded, and they look like their other product called Inventor that's totally 3D modeling. Okay, so a lot of stuff has been pushed over into AutoCAD. Not so much so the other way, but there are better features for CAD work over in Inventor. So it's a common thing the big monolithic software companies do, you know, and it's what the users are wanting. And so eventually, I predict there'll be one big application package that you can buy, you know, for CAD that does drawing and design. It has features of both fully integrated, and I think that it's practically there with Microsoft Office. You know, you just decide. It's kind of that way now. You kind of decide what you want to do. So there are unique things about that, though, that really that would be tough to integrate, but I think it'll happen more and more. So word processing software, we basically create, edit, and print documents and then save them. Okay. A lot of you already use this software, use this application, and you've used it even already in the course if you haven't ever used it before. And the screen, every little piece and part of it has a function. Okay, there's no wasted space on here, and so you'll use every part of the Microsoft Word window. And so knowing what all those are and learning the names and areas of those is what we'll begin doing in this lesson. So creating it, the accessibility, making it where people with vision or hearing problems can use the software, so making it accessible. Copy and paste, cut and paste, delete, file management, choosing font, graphics, setting your page size and margins, print. search and replace, text insertion, and word wrap. And it's all now possible to do it, and it's called WYSIWYG, using the WYSIWYG, okay, which is what you see is what you get acronym. Okay, so you're seeing it on the screen like it's going to appear on the paper or electronically for somebody else to view. And so all that stuff you have to learn how to set that up. And if you've got a report to do, whether it's for college, or you got a report to do where you're working, because even as a technician, and actually it's pretty common for technicians to have to file a report of what they did, and more it's electronic instead of writing it on a piece of paper on a card on the back of a job card or something. It's more and more electronic. Just won't be really fancy or adhere to some kind of particular style, APA or MLA. So they're used for blogs and footnotes, and we have headers and footers that we can customize. We have macros that we can create when we have a series of commands that we find ourselves doing over and over. Well, we can set it up as a macro, which is a collection of commands. Instead of a microprocessing program, it's a macro. So it takes a whole bunch of little tasks that we're doing and puts them into one big task. And so that's possible. We can merge text from one file to another. We can go over here and get an Excel spreadsheet that's a columnar list of names and addresses and phone numbers and zip codes and everything, and use that as a database in producing a form letter and producing a letter that we're going to send out to potential employers, or you're advertising, marketing something, so you can make it look very personal and to the person, and have their name inserted in the letter. I'm sure you've gotten letters already in the mail where it looks like, oh, they wrote this just to me. It's from some company, it's marketing, whatever. Okay, so there's that WYSIWYG. All right, so we can customize it. Spreadsheet software, we can calculate, manipulate, analyze, and then present numeric data. I love Excel. I use Excel a lot. Used to do it, keeping up grades. Now with Blackboard, it's kind of like a spreadsheet in there where I use the grade book, but have my own schedule that I do that you've seen on my door, and here's one up here. So I use that. I mean, there's tons of things I use it for. Excel works great for that. It works great for absorbing data from machinery, data acquisition, measurements, whatever it might be, and then being able to what we call massage that or sort, do mathematic analysis on it, and arrive at do some what ifs and come up with a possible solution. So it's in grids and columns and rows, and it's referred to as a worksheet. Okay, and you have several worksheets. That's a workbook. So it takes 3 worksheets to make. It starts up as a workbook. You have 3 worksheets in it. That's just the default. It has a whole bunch of areas that are all important. You'll look at those at least once, minimum, while you're working with any spreadsheet. You'll be working with all the different areas, and again, no space is wasted. Every area in Excel has a job, has a purpose. It's not just there to make it look nice. Okay? So columns are by letters and rows are numbers. So again, basic features. It's kind of, oh man, it looks just like kind of like the word processing. A lot of same things. Only now we have a little more control and can put formulas in there. We can put huge, complicated, very powerful formulas in a cell, and massage and create number analysis, data analysis with formula. And we can do a lot of graphics in there. We can do macros inside of it. And merging is possible with it. Presentation software, organize and present information. PowerPoint is the main one, although there's one called Microsoft Publisher that can be used. And you can also use Word to do quite a bit of publishing. Presentation, it'll do quite a bit. It's not very good with making a slideshow necessarily, but if you have a 3 or 4 page presentation, you can put it in Word and add a lot of stuff in it that you do inside of PowerPoint. Once again, you've got several areas that are used here. It's a little different now. It kind of comes up, the presentation. It's going to be a PowerPoint, so we're working on a slide at a time, just like this presentation is. So you can create and access default type of slides or themes that are available. Gobs of them available out there. Thousands of them are available. So you almost don't have to create one. You shouldn't have to create one from scratch. You can usually find a slide presentation that you can live with and then just make a few adaptations to it. Besides excellent for on-screen shows, it's also for self-running presentation. So job fairs, demonstrations, you can create your resume, your portfolio of work, or whatever. You could put it into a presentation and record it and then pass it off like that. An employer can look at that and get a snapshot of what you've done. You could have either JPEGs, pictures, or PDFs, or whatever media in there that shows different projects, capstone projects that you've done here, showing your experience that you've had, along with a list of accomplishments that you've done. And this would be 2 or 3, 4 or 5 slides long, nothing huge, and so you could present it like that, and you can make it into a little video. You can save it down as a video, and then they just play the video file, and it would just run through, and they could watch as many times as they want and back up and look, so forth. Okay, and they still put it in here. Yeah, we can make the overhead transparencies, which there's still a couple of professors that use those. I poke fun at them. Of course, we can make handouts, and we can save it off as a portable document format. That's from Adobe, and lock it down. That way, it's in just a portable document. It's just in a document, multiple page, and they can click through and look at it, but they can't really edit or make changes to it. You can protect it. Comes with a variety of designs. I've already talked about that, and we'll go over guidelines next week. Database software. Now, a database management system, maintain, provide, and control access to data. So human resource systems, inventory systems. It's like a spreadsheet, but instead we don't work directly. We don't input directly into the spreadsheet looking database. We actually create screens that will prompt the user, to enter data. So you work with one every time that you go onto a web page that's asking you for name and address and whatever, or some information, to join whatever. And it takes that information and sticks it into a database. So we'll do just a little bit of that. Not next week, but down the road, we'll do a little project that will work inside of a web page. So a little different here. Rows are called records, and they're tied together. So rows of information are records, and each record is a group of related fields, and those fields can be text, they can be numbers, you know. All right? So a piece of information within each record. So the access window does not have a standard document view. Okay? It changes based on the object you are trying. It changes based on the object you are using as you work with the database. So we actually create a screen, like I said, that allows the user to key in information. They can search for information. If you allow them to do that, they can enter information. They can retrieve information out of that, or data that becomes information, out of that database record. So they're called queries and reports. So we can use the table to create a database, add a table to an existing one, create a table by selecting a table template. So we touch on that just a little bit, unless you're going on to a lot of pure science, or you're going into computer science. You probably won't be using Access, a database program a lot. You can do quite a bit of it with Excel. So in the industrial technology field, industrial maintenance, industrial electronics, a lot of that is pulled in, data acquisition, into a spreadsheet. Okay, so the information comes in into a form like that. And you create a report form, and would display, kind of looks like a spreadsheet. And already talked about this a little bit, and we'll get into that a little more next week. Then working with graphics and multimedia. When we talk about that, there's vector images that consist of many individual objects, each with properties such as color, fill, and outline. Okay, so bitmap images are just dots. Okay, different colored dots. Little pixels on a grid. They have a fixed resolution. They can't be resized without losing image quality. Whereas vector, it actually has a mathematical calculation in behind what you're seeing on the screen. It actually is tied to a mathematical table that is correlated with color and fill and outline. So it has a distance and an angle. That's what a vector is. It's at a certain distance and an angle from the horizon, if you want to think of it that way. Okay. Most of the things you work with in graphics in Microsoft products are going to be bitmap images, although we will do some lines and create outlines and color and fill. So you're going to learn drawing programs. So we don't do a whole lot with our graphics and multimedia. That's in AutoCAD. You're going to be doing quite a bit in there. So we'll do one project in paint programs. We're not going to be doing any animation. We don't have time to do animation, and that's beyond the scope, but we wanted to make you aware. You need to know what they do. Okay, and next week I'll give you some preview of animation programs. Education, entertainment programs, computer games, audio and video. These are some other types of application software. Many of them we've kind of discussed a little bit of already in some of our lessons, and about utility programs. Then there's just, every type of business unit, every type of industry application, there's been software created to use, So there's all types of software out there related to the various applications that are needed. So to select the right software, we have to determine what our problem is, like we talked about problem solving. Find what is our task, what are we trying to solve, what is our problem, and then selecting the software based on what kind of information we need to gather, that we need to put together. Remember, you can have data, and you have data, and then you put the data together for the human to understand. It becomes information. Okay? So we can insert objects when we integrate software from one Office document into another Office document. We can take Microsoft Office Word document and put it in an AutoCAD drawing. We can make an Excel spreadsheet with its rows and columns of data related to a layout of an office building with, let's say, with a whole bunch of desks and computers and all the furniture and everything in it, or a facility layout, big huge production floor with robots and conveyors and what have you on it. Anything that's symbolic, a symbol on a drawing in AutoCAD, we can make it smart, and we can put a list of data tied to that symbol. And then that symbol, all those different symbols that are related, can be extracted into a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet can be related to the drawing. And I can make a change to the drawing and the spreadsheet will change. Change the spreadsheet and the drawing will change. So they're integrated. They work back and forth. Okay, so this is called object linking and embedding. Create a document or object in one program and then link or embed the data into another program. Okay, so this was not always possible, and it didn't work very well at the beginning. I'll demonstrate some of that next week. Word processing software, create and edit print documents. Spreadsheet is rows and columns of arrangement of data. Database is a collection of related information in a manner that provides for rapid search and retrieval using a form. Database can be one table or a collection of tables composed of columns and rows and referred to as fields and records. Use graphics and multimedia programs to create and edit images and animation. They can be in vector or bitmap. AutoCAD is vector. Most of what you do with Microsoft Office is going to be bitmap. Okay? We can run those together. We can take a bitmap image that we've created over here in an Office product and put it in AutoCAD. I can take an AutoCAD drawing and put it inside of a Word document. So that also integrates. Educational entertainment programs, computer-based training, computer games, utilities, basically managing your computer's resources and files, and then all kinds of other miscellaneous programs are out there, email applications, web browsers. What's accessible to you all right now, like through the college, is a perfect example of another software application, the cyber port that allows you to access a whole desktop application of Microsoft Office from anywhere, on any computer, on any mobile device. So it's called My Cyber Port. You can do that. That's an application software. You can also access it through your web mail, and Office 365 is available to you, and you can download from there application like Word or Excel or whatever, one application at a time. And it's basically You're not downloading the whole software package. You're downloading what I call a kernel of it that allows you to access it, but it's a web application of Word or Excel or whatever it might be. Okay, so that's through Office 365 through your webmail application.